This is Brad from Argali, and today we are doing a Goose down submersion test comparing water-resistant treated down to untreated goose down. And the point of this test is to really compare what happens when treated and untreated down come into contact with water, how they do or do not absorb water. There are a lot of theories, a lot of opinions on the merits and the pros and cons of treated versus untreated down, how they deal with moisture. And we're gonna do a little experiment so we can take a look at the facts here today about how each of them perform when they come into contact with water. So this down right here, this is our 850 dry loft down, Eastern European down. This is a really high quality premium down. This is what we use in our sleeping bags, just so I'm naming my biases here. Over here on my left is the exact same down, but it is treated with a water resistant coating. So exact same down, one treated, one untreated. Over here, the reason we use untreated down is because it's not coated with a water resistant coating, and pretty much all water resistant down coatings are paraffin based or wax based. They cause clumping over time, particularly as you stuff your sleeping bag into a stuff sack, take it out, stuff it into a stuff sack, take it out. But the supposed downside of not using a treated down is that it is more likely to absorb water. And we have been talking about how untreated down is naturally incredibly water resistant, but we thought this would be easier just to kind of show you what we mean when we talk about it. So we've developed a submersion test. This is not a scientific study. You can probably, if you want to, pick holes in the methodology here, but I'm going to explain to you what we're doing here. So we're going to take, I've already measured out in each of these cups. We have exactly 1 gram of down in each of these. I'm going to force this cup into a water bath. I'm going to leave it there, stir it around for 2 minutes. So each one for 2 minutes. I'm going to take the cup out and the down out of the vase, and then we're going to pour the water out through the colander here. We're going to give it a shake. We're going to take that down, and then we're going to re-weigh it. And we're going to take a look at how much water has been absorbed by the down, and by weighing it, we should get a pretty good sense of what's going on there. So that's really the experiment that we're going to do here today. Okay, let me get the clock right up here. I'm going to pour this down into the vase here, and you realize when you deal with down that it tends to want to get everywhere. It's like picking a duck or a goose. Okay. This is not necessarily like a scientific study, so you have to bear with me. I'm not a scientist. I just design and make gear. So we're going to start the clock, and then I'm going to submerge that down, and I'm just going to stir it like this. You can see it's all sticks to the metal spoon, which makes this a little easier. And I'm just going to gently stir it around for 2 full minutes here, keeping an eye on the clock. Now, the reason we don't use treated down has a lot to do with the impacts that water-resistant coatings have on clumping and loft over time. So water-resistant coatings, pretty much all of them use a paraffin-based coating. And that paraffin-based coating, it's a wax-based coating, it causes down clumping over time. So as you think about what you do with your sleeping bag, you put it in your stuff sack, in your backpack, taking it out, putting it back, taking it out. Over time, that down has a really hard time relofting, and you need that down to reloft in order to be able to trap air and keep you warm. But I think one of the theories and opinions about untreated down is that if it gets wet, it's just going to soak up water immediately, and therefore once down gets soaking wet, as we all know, its ability to keep you warm, its ability to trap air is incredibly compromised. And so what this is meant to do here is just kind of, this test is meant to kind of get down to the facts and get away from the fiction of what actually happens with treated versus untreated down. And you'll notice not every fiber of the down is going to be completely submerged. This does a pretty good job of submerging the vast majority of it. And then we'll take a look at what happens here in another 23 seconds or so. And this is in a real world scenario, it's very unlikely you're ever going to see fall into a creek for 2 minutes, because if you do, you're more than likely going to have more serious problems than whether or not your sleeping bag is wet. But let's say you did, or you got caught in a rainstorm and your backpack is soaked because you had a bunch of rain in your pack. All right, so now we're at 2 minutes. And as you can see, so this is the untreated down. So this is our dry loft down. If I can get all the feathers off my fingers. You can see that there is some saturation that has occurred here. But if you pull the down out, you can see it's actually surprisingly lofty. Let me see if I can get all the down off here. Now we're gonna do the same thing. Stop, reset. See, look, I just blew in there and all that, bunch of that down just came piling out there, which tells you that, yes, there's some submersion, some water absorption, but as you can tell, it's still floating on top of the water after being submerged for 2 minutes. Now let's take our treated down, do the same thing. Okay. And we will start the clock. Okay, so we're nearing the end here. We're almost at 2 minute submersion. Get that feather back in there. All right, so I'm gonna bring the spoon up. As you can see, this is the water resistant down, treated down. You can see it looks similar to the way the untreated down looks. It's got some water absorption. It's kind of clumpy. If I kind of put my spoon in here and reloft it, you can see that it wants to reloft back up. See if you have anything hanging down below the surface. You don't. So as you can see from our 2 minute submersion test, there really isn't much of a noticeable impact at all on how treated versus untreated down absorbs water. In fact, they both fared incredibly well. But the real test is going to be when we actually go now and weigh the down. So what I told you at the beginning of this video is I had 1 gram of goose down in each of these cups. So I'm going to take each of these vases, I'm going to dump them through a colander and a sink in the back. And then we're going to put that goose down on our fancy scale, and we're going to see how much water has been absorbed by each of these products here to really measure how much water absorption actually took place. So I've got our down here in this colander. Just a friendly reminder, I'm not a scientist. So if you're a scientist who conducts studies and you want to poke holes in this experiment, I'm sure you can find a way. But I tried to get all the feathers out of the vase, and we're going to try and get all the feathers back into this cup so we can weigh them. Trying to get all the feathers out of the colander here and into the cup. Okay, so we are at 2.3 grams, so about double, a little more than doubled the weight of the down with that 2 minute submersion test. It was also, to be fair, I left that down on the vase while I submerged this water, and I've also left this one, the treated down, in this vase for about equal amount of time. So hopefully that doesn't impact our results too much, but you're looking at 2.3 grams on this one. I'm gonna go back, dump this one right now, and then we'll weigh this one, and then we can compare the two. Now I have our water resistant treated down. Gotta get that all in the cup. Tried to shake as much water as I can out of this colander, so just pulling the down out here. Okay, our water resistant treated down that we just submerged in water now weighs 2.6 grams. So that's actually heavier than the untreated down. So our water resistant treated down absorbed more water by just a little bit. I mean, 0.3 grams is not a whole lot, but it's more than the untreated down. And that's actually a kind of a surprising result to me. So hopefully this was informative in some way. And I think if there's anything I hope you all come away with is that down, whether it's treated or untreated, is incredibly water resistant. And the differences between water absorption of water resistant versus treated down is negligible at best, but the natural water repellency of untreated down is incredibly high, especially on our dry loft down. If you want more information about any of our products or any of the content or articles we put out on our sleeping bags, be sure to go to our website at argalioutdoors.com.